You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Hey, it's Walter. It's April 28th, Tuesday morning. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a show. I did one earlier yesterday now. And I figured, you know what the heck? I'm going to do just a little bit. It's going to be lighthearted. It's not going to be a lot of things. Tonight is what I call, and am going to call, these nights like tonight, my dinner with Andre. My favorite movie, by the way. I saw it on Channel 12 around us, PBS, years ago. And it said this movie was released October 11th, 1981. It's basically Wallace Shawn and Andre Gregory. They don't ring a bell. The one guy definitely does. But I remember seeing this movie, and I got so intrigued by it when I was a kid that I felt like I was sitting. It was like these two guys, they meet for, a dinner at a restaurant, Andre's. And they get so, I might have mentioned this before, but they got so intrigued. I got so intrigued on what they were talking about that before I knew it, I felt like I was sitting at the table eating with them. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm like part of the twosome there. I'm the third person, the third wheel. Anyway, it said, like, I'm looking at it now, and it says My Dinner at Andre's. There's actually a Criterion Collection version. I have to buy that at some point. I love that movie. And I only saw it that one time, but it just left an impression on me. I'm going to try to keep this short and simple again because actually a friend reminded me. It was funny. I bought this T-shirt on eBay because I was looking for a shirt for to buy for I'm drawing a blank, so I apologize for my new show that I like that was on Netflix, and it was sorry about that. Dead space is not a good idea, even on a podcast. Oh, yes. No, yes. So I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. Sorry, I'm laughing about it inside. Daredevil. Sorry about that. I just wasted about a minute on trying to figure this out. Daredevil. And, I'm not going to re-record this. And it was like, I came up and I was looking at all these shirts and it was like, wait a minute. I was looking for those ones from Under Armour, the compression shirts. So I found one I liked actually better because none of the ones for Daredevil were that great at this point. Like anybody really cares. So I ended up buying one on eBay, and a friend told me what the story behind it was. It was a Punisher compression shirt, which they're apparently hard to get a hold of now. They're all sold out. And I said, yeah, there was one that's really cool. I asked a friend, I said, it's really cool because it actually is not only just a regular Punisher thing, it's got a different skull on there. It's kind of like faded looking. And it was actually, it's called American Sniper version. And it was like, wait a minute, this one's really cool. And this is the hardest one to find. So a friend called me back. I told him, yeah, I really wanted this T-shirt. And it was like, I felt bad. I paid all this money for this shirt when I'm already in enough financial debt to last a couple of people a lifetime. And he said, well, yeah, the reason that sold out was because he kept on telling me, you got to see this movie American Sniper, which I never did. I did see Bradley Cooper, though, this past year, or actually this year. I went and seen him in New York for The Elephant Man, which I would like to see again. And he said, because he played in American Sniper. And basically what happened was, he said, oh, yeah, the Punisher was a big thing for the guy who played Bradley Cooper, his character, with American Sniper. He had this thing with the Punisher. And it was like, yeah, so they made a special edition shirt from the American Sniper movie, I assume. So now I'm going to try to rent that, possibly this morning, because I can stay up all night. And see where that takes me, because now I'm intrigued by this. I gotta see what I wasted my money on. So anyway, I have to apologize. A friend, Matt, I told him I blew him off this weekend, not intentionally. I said, hey, I'm going to spend my weekend with another friend, Todd, who we were going to go. He went with his brother to check out, and I was mentioned I was going to probably do a show with this. I hopefully in a later date I'll do a podcast and a video cast for YouTube but I wanted to check out the cemeteries for Penhurst. Sorry about that. I'm drawing a lot of blanks tonight, so I apologize. And, oh, by the way, I did put, there's a link I put on my Facebook page, which is Walter P. Interrante, for that movie I mentioned earlier, My Dinner with at Andre's. I would recommend checking it out. It's free, so, hey, you can't beat that. Free is for me, as my dad would say. Anyway, yeah, I was going to do, like, we were trying to, like, it was like an In Search Of. It was like, yeah, this kind of reminds me of, what do you call this movie? God, I hate to walk away from my mic. Here he is, because I got a picture with him. The guy who did the Hatchet movies. I'll leave it at that because I forget his name right now. Adam Green. Sorry about that. But it reminded me of his one movie he did, Into the Marrow. And it's like, yeah, I want to do something, but we're going to be checking not into the marrow like he did, but it's the same idea. We're going to check out this cemetery and see if we can find it, which him and his brother did, my one friend Todd. And it was like, he said, yeah, we found it. I was going to call you, and we didn't. And then he said, we'll go back at a later date, and maybe my brother will go along, and I'll try to do this video cast and / podcast from there. So maybe at a later date, but I got some other things coming up the next couple weekends now, so I probably won't be for a while until I can do that. Penhurst to me means more to me than most people, because my one uncle, my mother's side, was my mother's brother, was actually put in Penhurst at the time, and this was back in the early 70s, and he actually died in that hospital. So to me, it's got a little bit of more to it than just, okay, yeah, they got some tombstones there, and they now make it into a haunted house every October or whatever, every fall, because I've actually had a relative that was in Penhurst. He was a vegetable when he was born, and his name was Michael. So I never really got to see him. Apparently, when I was a little kid, I may have seen him, but I don't remember him, so unfortunately. So yeah, he wasn't buried at Penhurst, but he actually did live there, and it had taken a toll on my grandfather because he really did not want to put him in there, and it was my mom's only sister and her only sister. I apologize. Her only brother and her father's only son. So it really had taken a toll on my grandfather putting him in there. And apparently it was so bad at the time, before I even heard anything about it, that Michael, my uncle, was basically, he might have died because patients were taking care of other patients. And that's what happened to my uncle Michael, because he was a vegetable and he was in this place. And apparently he may have died of suffocation, is what I understand, because patients, who were also mentally ill or had handicaps were taking care of my uncle, and he might have died in the he died in the hospital. That might have been how it happened. He suffocated from them trying to feed him and other patients taking care of my uncle. So again, it has some meaning behind it for me. Again, I was keeping this light-hearted, and there was only one story that was kind of interesting. A friend had privately texted me, and it was on AT&T. Let me see if I can find that. And it basically, I'm not going to read it because, hey, I'm on a good roll tonight, so I'm going to keep it that way. If you'd like to find it, because I am not going to read it, it was from TMZ. And it says AT&T sued over racist meme, culture of racism. So it's pretty funny. Yeah, it is definitely a racist article or pertaining to racism. And you'd have to read it, but you could find it. Yeah, just look for AT&T sued over racist meme. I don't know what meme means, but is it capital M, capital E, capital M, capital E, culture of racism. It's dated, I think yesterday's date. It says 4/27/2015. I think that's yesterday's date. My voice is getting really high pitched at this point, because I'm so tired too. And I haven't eaten all day. So that's another problem. Yeah, I tell you, I'm going to keep this short and sassy tonight. I think it seemed like it worked this afternoon. But I'll tell you, though, it was hell at work tonight. We have, like, the people I work with, they, try to get out of doing as much work as possible and leave as much for me as possible. Yes, that makes no sense. Hey, by the way, one thing on a lighter note, I love being able to do podcasts because unlike radio, normal radio, how many people get to sit in their underwear while doing a podcast? How cool is that? Not only do I have the face for radio, but I also am dressed for podcasting because I don't care how I'm dressed or what I look like at this point. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, too. It's almost 2:30, so I really don't care. Anyway, yeah, it was a hell night. I mean, I have some cool bosses and some real, asshole type bosses. Well, the one I had tonight would be on the other end of the spectrum that I mentioned lastly. And it's amazing. I just asked this guy, hey, can you help me? I have some, we have a lot of documentation we got to fill out. And most of it that I do is always marked incorrectly. I said, can you help me with this? And it was like, well, it's up to you to do it. I'm not going to help you with it. And it was like, okay, fuck you very much. And I'm glad that you can't help me, even though that is part of your job. You're our supervisor who's supposed to help supervise. Not tell me that, oh, it's up to you. It's not my responsibility. Well, I hate to tell you. Yeah, it is. So I'm going to wait till tomorrow, and I'm going to make sure I get another supervisor to help me out, do these doc corrections. I was so angry tonight. I was ready to floor the guy. I mean, literally. I was ready to lose my temper on this piece of crap boss who is just got some chip on his shoulder that he really needs to be straightened out. And it's like, I know my one friend, he's a supervisor, and it would be one of these times my one friend would say, I would ask the person to go out to the parking lot and we could straighten this outside. That's how angry I was. And it's like, you know what? I already take this job home with me every night, and I can't stand it. I mean, the last 3 years, I've been at this place for 12 and a half years now. I've been having nights that I can't sleep. I've never had this before. So it's obviously job-related and stress-related, but I go home and I'm hallucinating most of the night away. So when I can finally get to sleep, it's usually when the sun comes up. This is why it's great to do these podcasts. But you got some idiot who doesn't want to do his job and telling you, well, it's your responsibility. I'm not going to help you. And it's like, well, go take a short walk off a long, or what is it? A long walk off a short pier because you really just pissed me off. Yeah, I mean, I swear to God, and sometimes it's kind of freaky because sometimes when I'm hallucinating, the last time it's definitely job related though. No matter how you look at it, it's job related. Was that I hallucinated that there was these 2 dead corpses in my room, and it was kind of ironic though. Really, it was because I found out that this old couple from our parish had passed away. They actually live right across the street from our parish, and they were basically rotten in the house, and so, I mean, the corpses were literally decaying away. And somebody went into the house because it was like, okay, was all this mail piling up at this neighbor's house? These were older people. And they finally, figured out, hey, we better go in this house, see what's going on. And yeah, both the husband and the wife, this older couple, their corpses were like rotten. I mean, the house smelled really bad of rotten flesh and stuff. And it was ironic because at that same time, and I've had experiences like this before, so I don't know what you call it, but I swear, I'm not going to swear to God, even though I just did. So I'm sorry, God. But I've had hallucinations like that before, but not this vivid. They were in my room at my house, my parents' house, and there was these 2 corpses standing at the doorstep, and it was like not too long. I think it was only like a matter of a day or two. It was mentioned in our parish that this old couple passed away, and their corpses were rotten away in the house. So it was like, how freaky is this? So it's bad enough, and that just sticks in my mind, that this hallucination was very coincidental to two people from our parish, like basically the corpses like decaying in the house. So they actually had to like shut the house off, I guess, tarp it off, and they had to be really careful because they had to have a hazmat team come in to remove the bodies. This is no joke. I am not making this up. This is absolutely true. Anyway, this is getting a little lengthy now. I have plenty of other stories I can mention like that. Again, I'm just trying to keep this lighthearted. So this iWalter show is about Walter himself and one of my experiences. So I don't want to have any more nights like that. I wake up and I see things that I know they're not real, but it's definitely stress related. So having some guy who is an a-hole, who is not helpful, and he's a supervisor, it's like, listen, you know what? If you don't want to help me and I keep on making mistakes, this work is not going to only go back to you. It's going to go back to other people who don't want to do the job. So, you know what? Good luck and welcome when you inherit all this extra work that you don't want to do. Anyway, it's a little lengthy. I got plenty of other stories. I get a little bit into my personal business. I'm trying to do that every once in a while, and I decided I'll do it tonight to make it lighthearted. And it's getting around 17 minutes, so, I apologize. Trying to entertain and maybe hopefully help somebody else out that, when you get really stressed out, strange things do happen, and, you start, I have actually lost my appetite, too. That's not a good thing. But, folks, I hope you enjoy my midnight show or early morning show, but I'm going to cut it off pretty much at this point. And everyone, have a good morning, Tuesday morning. Hopefully I didn't drag too many people down at the same time. I didn't mean to do that. Have a good one.